I've written 3 articles for News Decoder. My first one was about baguettes. Actually, baguettes are the theme. Larger perspective is European energy crisis in France.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then my second article was the Ukrainian refugees. And then my third article was with the retirement pension and the strikes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of turbulence in France, hasn't there?
Yes, yes. And I really loved writing all those 3 articles because they were when I was in France and specifically French-based. And I just know that if I was here right where I am in California trying to write those articles, it would not be the same.
Why not?
Because I just think that it's just difficult to really understand things from other countries when you're not in the actual country. There are tons and tons of articles on the New York Times and the Washington Post on the France retirement system, but none of them are like if you were going to read West France, which is the west side of France's regional newspaper, which I actually did a project on. So I just think that all the news in general, it's very regionalized, and if you're not in right there where it actually is, the news can kind of get congested and changed and not true. So I think it's really important to kind of be place-based. And now that I had that experience in France, not just with journalism, but just being actually there, I just feel like the things I've learned are so different from if I was outside of the perspective of the country, the same as if I was in California. So
yeah, but how about writing about things in California when you're in California? I mean, if you've been a foreign correspondent for long enough, you start to see your own country as a foreign country.
Oh, totally. Yes.
Yeah. So coming back from France, you must be seeing California now with rather different eyes.
Yes, I totally am. Like right when I stepped off of that plane into the U.S. customs line, I was just, whoa, like this is such a different country. And just the way home, and just also not just outside, but just my own home in general, just being back in my own home. It's just weird, even though this is where I grew up and stuff. So what surprised me firstly, just the U.S., is that the U.S. is so diverse. I was not expecting it because when I lived in the U.S., it's just normal that it's diverse, and it's not really a thing that I ever looked on twice. And not that France isn't diverse, of course France has diversity as well, but just not as much, I would say, as the U.S. So it really surprised me because something I would have never pointed out beforehand. But also just, I would say with my own self, I've changed a lot. I think before, I didn't really have as much passion and consideration for my own culture. Before, I'm a Korean and I'm a Korean American. And so before, I didn't really have much interest, I would say, in learning about my Korean culture too much because I just put it aside. But after being in France and experiencing French culture, I loved learning about a new culture and getting the experience to live there. So it's made me now want to learn more about my Korean culture. So I thank France for that a lot.